you had Kash Patel and Dan Bongino in this interview. And the energy that they are bringing is a really different energy from the energy that we heard from them before Donald Trump was elected. And we heard, Kash Patel was going to release the Epstein files and there were big bombshells in there and you wouldn't believe. And now all of a sudden, they're saying some really interesting, in my opinion, unbelievable things. Watch.
You said Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide. People don't believe it.
Well, I mean, listen, they have a right to their opinion, but as someone who has worked as a public defender, as a prosecutor, who's been in that prison system, who's been in the Metropolitan Detention Center, who's been in segregated housing, you know a suicide when you see one, and that's what that was.
He killed himself. Again, you want me to get, I've seen the whole file. He killed himself.
What the hell is happening right now? Have these people been replaced? Are these aliens? Are those cyborgs? What am I watching? It's like you had not just a man who, you could go through all of the details that make it so inconceivable, right? It's like, but what happened to the security cameras? But what happened to the security guards? But why was the guy moved out? The neighbor, what is it? Bunkmate, inmate. I don't know what the hell. I've never been to prison. And so you have all of these inconsistencies. And after all of that, we're supposed to believe because Kash Patel and Dan Bongino are sitting there like, yes, he killed himself. Please don't hurt me. It's like what it felt like.
Yeah, it was a very uncomfortable conversation. I mean, I could feel it just watching. And I was like, all right, Epstein didn't. No, he killed himself. Okay, we get the message. It was very, very awkward. I couldn't believe as I'm watching this unravel because, Dan Bongino is someone who obviously had a career in front of a microphone. So he's a very comfortable person when it comes to speaking out publicly in front of the press. And he's comfortable with Fox. That's where he used to work. So it was very uncomfortable, especially because after Patel finished speaking, he just kind of... And it was just so uncomfortable. But listen, here's the thing, right?
He didn't kill himself. He didn't.
I'm going to go on the record by saying I don't think he killed himself.
What? I'm just now hearing this theory for the first time.
Breaking news bombshell. I'll write a book on it. Call it co-author with Jake Tapper.
Yeah, original sin. Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself.
It's so bad. It's really bad, Sarah.
To Breanna's point, you really could feel the tension through the screen watching these guys. It was so uncomfortable. And I'm like, where were these renegades that we saw before they came into the office that were like, we're going to blow everything up?
Well, I think that, and I've said this before, the same with Barack Obama. Barack Obama said, I am going to close down Guantanamo Bay. And I was like, no, you are not. It's not going to happen. And I think that it's okay when you're on the outside. And then when you get on the inside and you start seeing all these things, all these connections that are going on. I mean, I think that the Epstein thing is way, way, way worse than anyone, even the worst that people think of it. I think it's so bad. And look, what I say about those two guys, I like them both very much. I mean, we went to something with Kash, and I think Dan Bongino's fantastic. Do I think he's an authentic person? Yes. That is the worst show of lying that I have ever seen. I just don't buy it. And they don't have good poker faces because I believe personally, they're good men. But they're in a position, let's be honest, where when you're talking about things that I do believe that pertains to world leaders, that they've uncovered something like, holy moly, this is way deeper than even we thought. And when you are in that position, when you are there, we were just saying this outside, right? Like, Dan didn't have to do that. He's making a ton of money. He's massively successful. He's charismatic. He's got everything going for him. He's a patriot and he wanted to get in there and do good work. He got in there, and he's not like the scumbags that went before him who had great poker faces because all they did was lie. Right. He looks massively uncomfortable there. Yeah. He did, and so did Kash. Kash is like, and he's a renegade. They just look totally buttoned down, like, oh, how are we going to get through this? It wasn't natural. It wasn't natural. I don't know if we'll ever find out, and that is really, really tragic.
Yeah, I mean, because if we don't find out with this presidency, with this administration, with the administration that has gone in and been more transparent with the American people than I can ever remember. I don't know if you guys have a recollection of anyone else. And so with that level of transparency, it's like, I mean, maybe if you have a JD Vance, but it feels like the window is closing here to actually get, and I'm not just talking about if Jeffrey Epstein killed himself, because I'm going to be honest, I care far less about that than I care about who the hell was riding on his plane to the island and doing unspeakable things to young girls. That's what I care about. Now, obviously, whoever was wrapped up in Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself. Whoever was wrapped up in whatever happened there, of course, would be connected, and some of that would be a little bit of overlap. But that's what I want. And you would imagine that people like Kash and Dan, I say that like I'm good friends with them.
Buddies.
You know, just Dan, I was just talking to him the other day. Not really. You would think that those people, I do trust, like I do think that they do want accountability for those people. So it's like, why the hell not just give Americans transparency there? I don't care about the repercussions for other people.
If you're Dan Bongino, you don't walk away from a multi-million-dollar contract. I mean, he was raking in the money over with his Rumble show. And so I don't think you step away from that and just kind of go into public office because it doesn't really pay that well. So, yeah, I do think he went in with the best intentions. It's a little frustrating sitting on the sidelines. You know, Sarah and I talked about this before. You know, our whistleblowers, the people who came and blew the whistle during the Biden regime, was talking about all the corruption. Well, they've all gotten left behind. Whether they want to address it or not, that's the reality. They're all sitting here waiting on standby. You know, they were told by Kash Patel that they were all being brought back, and now they're not being brought back, it looks like so far. Maybe they could change their minds, who knows? But the reality is, I've read that, and we've gone through with attorneys, if Kash really wanted to bring these guys back, specifically if they want to bring Garrett O'Boyle back, or maybe just reinstate his pay, they could have done so day one. Would have been a quick thing for him to do. He hasn't done so yet. So at this point, I'm all out on Kash Patel. I just don't see this working out well for the American people, what we wanted. You know, the guy wrote a whole book and was mapping out all these government gangsters. What the heck happened to him? And he seems like when you're watching him, you're listening to him speak, he seems like he doesn't know what he's actually going to be doing. Mm-hmm. It sounds like there's somebody who might be dictating this, and that could be conspiratorial, but it doesn't sound like he's calling the shots.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you in that, and like scared to say the wrong thing because, I mean, Matt, you mentioned the event that we were at with Kash. God, it was October. It was like late October.
5 minutes ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I mean, right before the election, and you saw him. He got up on that stage and he was like, oh, when President Trump comes back in office, we're going to do this and we're going to do this. And I'm like, this guy looks scared to say the wrong thing. And I want to know who the hell is making him fearful. Do they have something on him? You know what I mean? It's like,
I don't think it's that. I mean, and again, this is all conjecture, right? Sure. It's like, but I'm not the greatest fan of Pam Bondi. I think
she's another one.
But that's his boss, right? Like that's his boss. So he's got to play it the right way.
And she's the one, remember, she's the one who went on Fox News and was like, we're going to have the Epstein files tomorrow.
And she told you what was it? It was egregious.
Yeah.
Remember she told that on Jesse Waters' show?
Yes.
And then the next day there was no files?
No files. Yeah. And that was what, a month ago?
Yeah.
2 months ago?
Yeah.
I mean, it's been a while.
Like you said, I mean, I don't, you know, Jeffrey Epstein gone, don't care, scumbag. I'd like to know because you would like to think in the future that if someone gets arrested and they get put in prison, they're not going to get bumped off. That's the only thing that I'm concerned of with that. You know, if
if it's a sex offender,
that's what I'm saying. I'm like, can we give the guy a congressional medal or something? But look, I think that Epstein was involved with the intelligence services. I think it's very, very complicated. I think it's very, very slippery. And I think that when you get into that position, I mean, he's the head of the FBI. He's digging, he's finding all these things. And what if it points to another American intelligence agency? Then it starts becoming very difficult, especially if they were gathering intelligence, which we know that Epstein had on other people around the world.
Okay, yes, but hold on, because I believe he said this to Glenn, like right over there in Glenn's office. He said that he had already seen it all. Before he came into office, he interviewed with Glenn and he said, I have seen it all and I'm going to release it. because it's all crazy. And it's like, well, if he had already seen it all and he's already saying we're going to release all of this, and now what the hell's the difference?
He didn't see it all. I mean, they said that they just got a bunch of stuff in New York, right, that nobody had even seen. So
that they hid initially.
Right.
Yeah. Right. So I think that the stuff that they have is so bad. I think it's worse than what anyone could imagine. And I think that there's a possibility that our own people were involved in it. And that creates a bit of a problem.
That's, wow. You think the American government would do something secretive like that and not tell the American people?
No,
that is
like them.
Yeah, that is crazy. That's
what I'm saying is there has to be something bigger that's stopping him from coming out and saying it. It has to be something that has global consequences.
No, it. Tell us.
No, I think we should know.
Yeah.
I think we should know. But listen, I know. Let me just say this.
It might get us in a war. I don't know. I still think we should know.
We should know, but I have been around enough people, and I'm sure there are people on here that will agree and know this as well. But there have been certain episodes that have gone on in history that the American people absolutely shouldn't know about at that moment, because
I hate that.
But it's just true. Like if you knew that there were, like, look, we've said over and over about people coming into the country illegally, that there are cells all around the country. If you knew that there was an active cell 5 minutes away, people would lose their minds.
What? Well, but
or we hunt them down.
Yeah, I'm like, hell no, we'll go root them out.
But
coming with all the damn guns.
But I'm coming at it from the point of the hostage rescue team or whatever it is from the FBI. They're like, listen, the last thing we need are people running out there going crazy.
We don't need the FBI.
We need to take. All I'm saying is this has happened over and over and over again, and we haven't known about it, and it's been taken care of when we had competent people.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that I do think, and I'm all for transparency. I'm all for transparency. So I want to do that. It just comes. It just comes out. It just comes out. But I'm all for transparency. But I think that these two men are good men. Mm. We know that they want to expose all this. It's something way, way bigger.
If you like this clip and you want to see the full episode, click here. And if you want to subscribe to the channel, come on, you know you do. Click here.